This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
The Pasuk in Parsha Shlach, in response to the Chid HaMeraglim, says, Moshe Rabbeinu's Mispalot HaKadosh Baruch Hu, after invoking the Midos HaRachamim, Parak Yudaled, Pasuk Yotes, Slachna la'avoin ha'am hazeh, kegoydel chasdecha, please forgive the sin of this nation in your great kindness. V'chasher nosasa la'am hazeh, and as you have borne this nation, Mimitzrayim v'yadhena, Vayomer Hashem salachti kvarecha. I want to share with you a remez nifla that is found in Likutei Maharan, Rav Nachman of Breslov and Chelek Beis, in the 7th Maimar, Ki Merachamim Yenahagim, and it is discussed in Ois Yud Aleph. And this remez is also brought in the Shar Yisaschar, Ma'amori Chodesh Kislev and Teves, Ma'amar Yimei Oira. The Munkacher brings this down in the name of the Maharash Mikaminka, an incredible remez, that this pasuk is Merames to Chanukah, remez I never knew about. If you take the letter Hazeh, begins with a Hey, Kegoida begins with a Kaf, Chasdecha begins with a Ches, the Cha'ashar begins with a Vav, Nasasa begins with a Nun, it spells Chanukah. Wow! Hafla v'fela, the word Chanukah is Merumaz in the pasuk that we say on Yom Kippur, Slachno la'avoin ha'am hazeh kegoydel chasdecha v'cha'asher nosas. So the Munkacher explains how appropriate it is that Chanukah's merumaz in the pasuk we say on Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur is the first chasima, and there is a tradition that the final chasima is when Chanukah. So the first chasima is Yom Kippur, and the final chasima is Chanukah, and therefore Chanukah's merumaz in the pasuk we say on Yom Kippur. I would like to bring out perhaps another dimension of this remez. Why is Chanukah merumaz in the pasuk? Slachna la'avoin ha'am hazeh kegoydel chasdecha. And I want to explain this with another comment that's made by the Munkacher in the Shar Yisaschar, and this is found in Ois Pevav, also in Ois Pehei, and that is in Ois Pevav. The Munkacher brings down that Zois Chanukah, Zois is Rashi Tevois, Tamu Zechus Avos. Tama Zechus Avos. Zechus Avos has ended. We know the Gemara tells us that Zechus Avos is gone. We no longer could tap into Zechus Avos. We've depleted the Zechus Avos. So what could we rely upon if we no longer have Zechus Avos? What we could rely upon is Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim, the 13 attributes of mercy. Incredibly, the Arizal teaches us that each night of Chanukah, one focuses on one of the Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim. The first night is Kel. In the world of the Arizal, we don't include Hashem, Kel. Second night, Racham. Third night, Chanon. Fourth night, Erech. Fifth night, Apayim. Rav Chesed. Ve'emes. And the eighth night, the following night, Noitzer Chesed. So what about the rest of the 13? No, Zois Chanukah, you have in mind the rest of the Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim. There's actually more Rachamim prevalent on Zois Chanukah than the rest of Chanukah. In fact, the Bnei Yissaschar says that the Maril brings down that there were those who didn't do Malacha the first day of Chanukah and the last day. The first day, at the beginning of the Yom Tov, and the last day, the Bnei Yissaschar explains, because the last day we are focused on more of the Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim than the rest of the Yom Tov. So, the Yom Tov of Chanukah corresponds to Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim, especially Zois Chanukah. Because on Zois Chanukah we have to have in mind 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 6 of the Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim. Says the Munkacher, the reason why it's called Zois Chanukah, Zois stands for Tamu Zechus Avos. That on this day, despite the fact that we cannot rely on Zechus Avos, all we could rely on are the Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim that are meir on Chanukah. In fact, Arizal says, Lehadlik ner Chanukah, Nachal, Noitzer Chesed La'alafim, also from the Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim. Be it as it may, Chanukah is a special time where, despite the fact we can no longer rely on Zechus Avos, we rely on the Midas Hatava v'Kadosh Baruch Hu of Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim. Now we understand, I believe, the great remez of Nachman of Breslov that's brought by the Marash Mikaminka as well. Why Chanukah is merumaz and Slachna la'avoin ha'am hazeh kegoydel chasdecha v'chasher nosas. And the reason being that after the Ched HaEgel, Moshe Rabbeinu turns to Rebbeinu Shalom. He says, Yigdal na kayach Hashem. Let the power of God become great. Hashem, erach apayim, v'rav chesed, noisei avoin, v'fasha, v'nakeh lo yinakeh poikei avoy navois albanim al shema ribeim. Moshe Rabbeinu invokes the midos harachamim. And from invoking the midas haracham, Moshe then is able to mispalel slachna la'avoyna mazeh kagado chasdecha. So the tefillah that emanates from the midas harachamim is slachna, and therefore Chanukah, which is the Yom Tov of the midas harachamim, that despite the fact Tammuz is chus avos, despite the fact that it's Zois Chanukah, Zois is Tammuz chus avos, nevertheless we could rely on Hazeh. Kegoidel chazdecha v'chasher nasasa Rashi Teva. Says Reb Nachman, Chanukah is a Yom Tov according to the Arizal, where the Yud Gimel Midas Harachim are prevalent. And again, tying this back with what the Munkacher said, that Chanukah is merumas in the tefillah that we say on Yom Kippur, because Chanukah is the final chasim of Yom Kippur. Well, just like Yom Kippur, what do we focus on Yom Kippur? Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. Chanukah too is the zman of Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. May we be zoicha at a time when the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim are nizgadel ba'olam and mashpia ba'olam. We hope the Rebbeinu Shalom is mashpia on all of us on Zois Chanukah, the day that Tammuz chus avos, but yigdal na koyach Hashem, that the Rebbeinu Shalom yigdal Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. May it be prevalent. May the Rebbeinu Shalom be mashpia on all of Klal Yisrael. Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, for an ultimate chasima toiva, the chasima of the Kohen Gadol that sealed that pach shemen. Should be zoicha to the shemen of Mashiach Tzidkenu Meher V'Yameinu. Amen.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.